Jones and Keefe here on WEEI. You heard the Red Sox fall last night to the Blue Jays 6-2 at Fenway Park. It was fun when they were scoring 18 runs on Sunday Night Baseball, but it's like
that was a blast.
Keep a couple of those in the holster.
No.
Going against Barrios last night. They were shut down in the crummy weather, and
brutal.
The Jays were able to put out offense, 13 hits and 6 runs. So you can only blame the weather so much, but I will say, there were a lot of balls that looked like they were crushed last night. They got knocked down by the wind on both sides, Red Sox and Jays. Jays adjusted to it better than the Sox. First loss at home for Boston again, 6-2. You can jump in here, 617-779-7937. We'll give away another pair of Red Sox tickets a half an hour from now on a 2 for Tuesday. We'll also do Tier Tuesday coming up at 11:30. The worst trades in Boston, since 2000.
The worst
in Boston sports.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, boy. We got a few to pick through. I think we got like a dirty dozen.
I think that's about right.
We're going to rifle through them all.
We'll take write-ins, of course. Since 2000.
Since 2000.
Not Babe Ruth.
Look at the calendar.
Not,
no.
as you said, Jeff Bagwell.
Not Bags.
No. We're not talking about those.
Not when they let Schilling go.
We are not doing that. We're talking about the worst Boston sports trade since 2000, and Joe Milton is in there.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that coming up.
How about last night, right off the rip, though? Cedar Rafaela.
What a
catch of the year. And we were talking about how he's probably the guy that's going to be forced out of the lineup for Roman Anthony eventually, because Willie Abreu's having such a hot start that you got to keep Willie Abreu. And so you're saying, all right, how does Cedar Rafaela justify him starting? Well, plays like that. It is nice to have a lights-out defensive center fielder. Now, if Roman Anthony continues to smoke the ball at Worcester, you can only do so much by making web gems to stay in there. And I also think it just proves that he is such a unique piece to this team where he can play multiple spots and he can play them all at a high level. So if you need somebody to give Story a break, you need somebody to give Durant a break, or you need a break, or
a
whatever.
late inning replacement. He can pitch, run, and then take over defensively. You could do that.
But that was a sick play. And so back-to-back games. So we were talking about yesterday the Willie Abreu throw out, right? The hose from Willie Abreu. And then first inning, you get the unbelievable catch from Rafaela. Just to show you, I mean, the last couple of years when the Red Sox were bad and we were looking at them, how many times did we talk about the defense? And the pitchers that were just getting left out there to get smoked because what looked like it could be a double play wasn't, or what looked like might be the third out of an inning wasn't. And now you feel like, all right, I didn't know they had an error last night, but for the most part, you feel like whatever is an out is an out. And sometimes even ones that aren't, like they'll make the extra play.
Yeah, I forget which baseball writer this was. National guy. It might have been Schoenfield at ESPN. I'm trying to remember.
Kenny Rosenthal.
I can't give proper credit, but it was one of the bold predictions in the offseason was that they could have 3 outfielders win a Gold Glove.
That is a bold prediction.
Like Durant, Abreu, Rafaela could all win a Gold Glove this year, in theory.
No doubt. Although Durant last night did not look like a Gold Glover, but I get it.
Durant had a misplay last night. Ref Snyder had a misplay after him in left field last night, so maybe there was something going on with the swirling wind. But no, maybe not a great night to trumpet that up. But they have a high-level defense in the outfield. Would that keep Rafaela's job? I wouldn't advocate for it, but that was a great catch. Independent of the catch, and I don't think Dick Fitz is the face of this by any means, but I don't think he's been great through 2 starts. I think he's been fine if you view him as like,
you know what he's been?
A 6th or 7th starter. What?
Cooper Criswell from last year.
Yeah, and Cooper Criswell just got his ticket back to Worcester.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but like that guy last year made more starts than you wanted him to and was actually pretty serviceable. And it wasn't going to blow you away, but for the level, like he kind of surpassed expectation. And Fitz started the year as the 7th starter in camp?
Yeah, so if you view him as that, if you view him as a depth starter when you're down 2 or 3 starters, well, he's been fine. But I don't think he's been anything special. But again, to me, he's not the face of it. He's just one of the guys out there starting where basically everybody not named Garrett Crochet has kind of stunk. And I haven't liked what I've seen out of Houck. I haven't liked what I've seen out of Buehler. Fitz, again, has been fine, but he's going to be out of the rotation in short order. So I guess the glass half full way to look at it, Keith, is, well, Crochet's at the top. He's been lights out. Houck and Buehler should be better, and reinforcements are coming. When you get to Bayo, I don't think Cutter Crawford's anywhere near it. We'll see with Giolito.
Doesn't sound like it.
But like at least with Bayo, reinforcements should be on the way. So you have 4 real starters, and then whoever your 5th starter is. A lot of teams have that problem. I guess that's the glass half full way to look at it. The way that I would look at it right now is I'd say you haven't had a good starter outside of Garrett Crochet. Is starting pitching beginning to become a concern for this team?
Yeah, no, it is. I think it has to be, and they may have reinforcements on the way, but what does that look like? And if one of those reinforcements is Lucas Giolito, then I don't know what to tell you.
Actually, let me strike this from the record.
Go ahead.
Hunter Dobbins had a nice start in there. If I want, I shouldn't say nobody else had a good start. I don't think that guy's staying in the rotation. In fact, is he already back in Worcester?
Traded.
Well, that's true. He did get Quinn Priester
see you later,
traded.
Priester.
So
you see the Brewers got another pitcher too. They made a trade with the Orioles.
No,
they must be desperate for pitching.
So they're just making deals left and right.
So,
but anyway, Dobbins isn't going to stick in the rotation, but he at least, to his credit, had a nice start. But Crochet's been the only guy who's going to be in your rotation who's been any good. He's been great.
They have played 11 games. Quality start, perhaps not the best statistic out there, but of course 6 innings or more, 3 earned runs or less. How many quality starts does the team have in 11 games?
3. I think we just identified him.
Correct.
Crochet and then the one from Dobbins. Probably.
No. Dobbins.
No, Fitz actually has 2 quality starts.
Fitz has 2 quality starts. Fitz has 2 of the 3.
Huh.
Dobbins only went 5.
Oh, so there you go. That's
so
why.
Dobbins only went 5.
So Fitz was what, 6 and
he
3
literally
runs
hit the
times?
metrics. Yep. 6 and 3.
And
so
again,
if that's what you get out of Fitz, I'll take it.
I
and
mean,
then Crochet had
about, but again, it's 10 base runners.
No, I get it.
So, but okay, so he has the most quality starts on the team.
So, yes, but what this boils down to is Walker Buehler and Tanner Houck. Because I think whoever your 4 or 5 starter is, every team in baseball outside of the Dodgers says the same thing. All right, 6 innings, 3 runs, you'll gladly take it.
Yeah.
If Dick Fitz does that every game, what a career year for Dick Fitz.
Cy Young.
That's Cy Young candidate, Dick Fitz. I mean, so it really comes down to the different pendulum swing of Tanner Houck, who was an all-star last year and now has started the year with an ERA of, about a touchdown. And then Walker Buehler, who has had a couple of good years throughout his major league career, but is right now struggling and has given up 9 earned and 9 1/3. So I think if those 2 guys right the ship, because I don't think you can hold your breath on Lucas Giolito. Anything he gives you, great. Brian Bayo should be a help. I don't know. He wasn't great in the first half last year. He was much better in the second half, but then starts the year hurt again. So I guess I'm somewhat hopeful on him. And then Cutter Crawford seems kind of out of sight, out of mind.
A pitcher who doesn't start the year on time is just scary because it's they didn't have their full spring training. They didn't have a full offseason. Now they're trying to chase it, and I feel like the risk of re-injury is higher. But at least, Bayo should be an upgrade on, Newcomb and I would think even Fitz to a degree.
Although Fitz is going to make an argument to stay in there.
I guess based on your quality stat number, I'd keep him over Newcomb in the 5 spot is what I would do.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think Giolito or Cutter Crawford are knocking on the door anytime soon.
As soon as Giolito pitches, I'd be like, hey, Fitz, don't go anywhere. He's probably going to pitch one game and hurt himself again.
He threw a pitch and pulled a hamstring.
He had 1 start last spring, got hurt. Had 1 pitch this spring and got hurt. So, yeah, I would think Fitz has a chance to be back.
So I think it's fair to say it's time to be a little concerned, small c, about the starting rotation. Outside of Garrett Crochet, if Fitz has been your next best starter and maybe even arguably your most consistent starter, he's gone 6 innings in both starts. I don't feel great about that. And maybe you disagree. Maybe it's early and it's only 2 starts and you're not panicked. How long until you start getting worried with Houck, who was brutal all spring? Yeah. Buehler, how long are you giving those guys? 617-779-7937.
5 starts? Maybe it's a 5 starts?
Yeah, I'm not saying
5 starts, decent sample size?
I'm not saying you give them the hook and you get them out of the rotation. You're kind of stuck with them. But until you start getting, legitimately concerned about what their starting pitching will be.
So if you break it down, because you asked, are you concerned about it? And it is only 11 games, and you at least have the Haas starting every 5th day you're getting Crochet. Mm-hmm. So that helps everything. But if you're looking at it starting pitching, relief pitching, hitting, and defense, if you're just taking those 4 things, that's the worst of the 4.
Yeah.
Right now, the bullpen's been better. I think going into the season, you thought maybe the bullpen would be worse than the starters. That hasn't been the case.
Bullpen's actually been decent.
Yeah. And then, obviously last night they only get 2 runs, but for the most part, and I know they had 2 errors, but in the totality, the defense is better than the starting pitching, and the hitting is better than the starting pitching. So that's the weak spot as of right now. It's also the one that is affected the most by injury. So it's only a matter of time probably till the lineup gets banged up and they got to adjust on the fly. But yeah, I think to me, it really just boils down to Tanner Houck, Walker Buehler. Those are 2 guys that should be, like, on paper, an advantage over other teams' 2 and 3s. But if they're pitching like this, they're not. Not only is it not an advantage, it might be a disadvantage.
Yeah, so I think I'm more concerned out of those two with Houck, although Buehler's quickly moving up the list.
I know. I just kind of like assumed he was going to be good.
Me too. And he had a better spring, which is maybe why I'm a little more sold, and he has a longer track record. Although, again, he was much worse than you were probably led to believe last year because he finished on an upswing with a good postseason for the Dodgers and helping them win a World Series. I think I'm more concerned about Houck. I didn't fully believe in what he did last year anyway, the breakout when he was an All-Star. I didn't fully buy into it.
Yeah.
I don't really think you did either.
No.
It felt like he was – we've seen a million guys over the years have a good first half and be an All-Star, and then they never quite replicate it.
Rick Porcello won a Cy Young.
Thank you.
So, like, you can even have a good season. It doesn't mean you're going to be good year in and year out.
That was an undeserved Cy Young. I think you would agree.
Kate Upton's still pissed about it.
Undeserved Cy Young for Porcello. I think I'm more concerned about Houck because I never really believed in what he did last year.
Right.
And he had the bad spring on top of it. I've been told he was just working on stuff in spring, but then it's continued
just tinkering
through 2 different starts to start the year. So I think I'm more concerned. I'm not giving it a lot of time before I get worried about the starting pitching, and here's why. Late in spring, we started to ask the question, well, why aren't the betting apps, for instance? Why aren't people as big of believers in the Red Sox winning the division and winning the American League? They had the 3rd best odds in the division coming into the year. And I think by spring, I was late to it, and we were late to it, but I think by spring it was like, well, maybe people don't believe in the starting pitching improvements as much as we do because we're so used to the last couple of years, the pitching being trash and guys we've never heard of and openers and call-ups from AAA and all this stuff. And it turns out maybe we were buying into the names and the hype a little bit more than we should have,
but
independent of Crochet.
No, I know, but I took that same logic and applied it to the Orioles and the Yankees, 2 teams that were picked on those betting sites ahead of the Red Sox. Mm-hmm. Not here on this show. I mean, you 3 guys all had him in the World Series.
Yeah, that's true.
I had him in the ALCS.
We're bigger believers in the Red Sox than you. That's
true.
But
look at the Yankees, for example. Garrett Cole goes down for the season. Max Fried was their big free agent acquisition. He has been good and through 2 starts. Their other guys have all been Tanner Houck, Walker Buehler.
Yeah,
I mean, all those other guys have stung.
I would say the same thing. I am concerned about the Yankees rotation, but I was in the spring. I am concerned about the Orioles rotation, but I was in the spring. Fun
fact, how many quality starts through 10 games do the Yankees have?
3.
0.
Wow. Not even
0.
1?
Not a quality start.
But I think we were highlighting a lot of we were trumpeting the Red Sox as having a better rotation than those teams,
Definitely.
And it turns out they're kind of in the same boat as those teams.
Yeah, it might be similar. And maybe that's where, like, if Crochet goes on to win the Cy Young, then maybe that's what tips the scales a little bit.
This is minor. Well, maybe it's not minor. You tell me.
Ooh.
Connor Wong with the fracture of his left pinky last night. He's on the IL. No timetable for recovery as of last night. Perhaps I've missed something this morning.
Yeah.
How significant is that for an already struggling rotation?
Well, I guess that's a good. I was going to say just at the plate, Connor Wong has been terrible. But yeah, it's going to be comfort for the pitchers. Narvaez has been pretty good. So if you're going to get more of him, he was sort of like an unknown guy coming into the season. If you get more of him, I think it might be pitcher by pitcher dependent. Like someone like Garrett Crochet, how many times has he even thrown to Connor Wong? You know what I mean? Like,
good point.
I don't think there's.
But
he and Walker Buehler.
We think of Wong as a guy who is, and maybe unfairly, because how good has their pitching been the last couple of years? But I think of him as a guy who's at least handled the staff decently well. No.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of the young pitchers.
So
you can't help
on that level. I think it hurts, but right, it's not like any of these guys outside of Houck and Bayo when he comes back have a long track record with him. Mm-hmm. So fair point. Add that to the list with their starting pitching. How concerning is it the slow start, specifically with Houck and Walker Buehler? 617-779-7937. The good news is, Keefe, they get Garrett Crochet again tonight.
Yes.
You hope he keeps it going. What are your expectations for Crochet in this one?
I think another good one. Like, this is the thing. So last time we saw him, it was having to stop a losing streak, which he did. And he had his best start ever, 8 innings for the first time since college, just signed the extension and everything else. And now you got to kind of keep that going. And not that you can possibly expect 8 shutout innings every single start. That's not realistic. But this is why you have that ace. It's just got to give you a chance to win every night. And some nights the offense isn't going to score 18 runs or even 8 runs. So are you at least putting them in a chance where you're going to be late in the game still in it? And I kind of expect that every single time out from Crochet.
So, right, you're not going to get 8 scoreless shutdown innings from Garrett Crochet. Mm-hmm. Agreed. But can I expect 7? Can I expect 100-plus pitches? Like those are the things that now that he has his contract, and you were early on this, Keefe, those are the things I'm now curious to see. Like, did Cora just lean in on Crochet the other day against Baltimore because he had it going and they were in a tough spot? They had lost 4 in a row. They needed the win. Did he just lean on Crochet because of that? Or are they going to handle Crochet differently because they've now paid him and you don't have to worry about breaking him to the same extent? 8 innings. I'm not going to ask for 8, but call it 6+, 7 innings and another 100-plus pitches. Can he do that? His career high is 103 pitches. Can he do that? He had never thrown 8 innings in the big leagues. Is he going to keep doing that, or is it closer to the first start? And again, I'm not talking about the runs. I'm not talking about the lack of Ks versus him punching guys out in this last start. I'm talking about how deep into the game do they use him? Is it a third time through the lineup? Like that sort of thing. I'm curious to watch that every time he takes the mound early on this year. How does Cora treat him? How does Cora use him? Because I think we're hoping he uses him as a Husky. If he's a 3-time Hoss of the Week on this show for a reason.
So what'd you say his career high was for pitches?
I believe it's 103 off the top of my head.
So I'm looking at it now from 2024 last year, which is really his only full year as a starter, and we even know that full is kind of in quotes because the way they used him in the second half.
Basically a half a year, yeah.
He only had 100 pitches or more twice all season, and they weren't back-to-back. It was 2 out of 3. There was a stretch where he went 103, 91, 102.
Okay, so
he's never even done it back to back.
So maybe that's the bigger number to pay attention to than even the innings. Like how many pitches are they letting him go out there for? And is he the kind of guy, analytics in modern day baseball?
Oh, sure do.
2 trips through the rotation and then through the lineup rather, and then you're done. So is he the kind of guy who they say, we don't care about analytics with him because he's a stud and we're going to lean on him? Do they treat him differently than other starters? I think they should. I hope they do. But that's the sort of thing, usage-wise, I'm curious with watching with Crochet in this start against the Jays.
He was so nasty last year until they basically, soft shut him down. I was looking at his numbers, the number of strikeouts that he would have. And so this was promising. When he did get the pitch count up, he followed up his career-high 103 pitches with just 91 in a game against the Red Sox, actually, where he struck out 10. And then he followed that up with a 13-strikeout game. So the guy is nails. I think the expectation should be high every time he starts. They kind of, first of all, they need it. It's a good sign for the bullpen too. It's almost like a rest day, or hey, we might only need 6 outs kind of thing, or 3 outs the way that it was going. So yeah, I'm curious how Cora uses them, because last week or his last start, I probably would have pulled him after 7. I was like, that's how soft I think I've gotten. I was like, I'd probably take him out, leave on a high note.
Separate thought. Were you a little surprised he stuck with Fitz in the 6th? He got out of a jam, but I was a little surprised they stuck with Fitz in that situation. So I don't know if that's telling coming off a doubleheader, maybe, or I don't know what that is. But I thought that was interesting. If you're going to let Fitz stay out there for an extra inning or so, you should be doing that with Crochet.